Hi everyone, I'm Frank Daniels, and you're watching Football DataLab. We work with a database of over 30,000 active professional players across more than 80 performance metrics. Today, we're looking at how age determines who plays, where they play, and when a career actually peaks. In front of us is a histogram of over 30,000 professional footballers. This isn't archival data. These are live, active players right now. The distribution looks predictable at first glance, but the details are surprising. Density peaks somewhere around 23 to 25 years old. After 28, the curve drops sharply. By 35, very little remains of that original peak. That immediately raises several questions. Why do younger players concentrate in certain leagues while older ones gravitate elsewhere? How does position on the pitch affect the age at which a career ends? And when does peak performance actually arrive, not by feel, but by the numbers? The next three charts answer exactly that. Let's start with geography and see how age distributes itself. We've already seen how age is distributed across the sample as a whole. Now let's look at exactly where on the world map the oldest squads tend to cluster. This chart covers nearly 4,000 players across 8 leagues. Algeria and Belarus sit right at the top. Their average squad ages are noticeably higher than the rest of the sample. Close behind them are South Korea, Morocco, and Qatar. One explanation is that these leagues face less transfer market pressure, so clubs aren't constantly forced to sell their experienced players. Another is that young talent from these championships leaves for abroad early, leaving the older generation behind at home. Neither explanation contradicts the other. Most likely, both mechanisms are working at the same time. Squad age isn't random. It reflects the economic structure of the league itself. Okay, that explains the geography. Now let's look at exactly when. We've covered how age breaks down across leagues. Now let's look at the same picture, but through the lens of positions. Our sample here is nearly 15,000 players. The top of the chart won't surprise anyone. Goalkeepers and center backs are the oldest positions on average across all leagues. Goalkeepers age last. Football has been telling us that for generations. One explanation is purely physical. Positions with lower running loads are more forgiving of age. The other explanation is cognitive. Game reading in a goalkeeper or a center back compensates for lost speed far better than it does out wide. What's more telling, though, is this. The left back sits near the bottom of the chart, right alongside the attacking positions. That suggests the modern fullback is closer in profile to a winger than to a classic center back. Right. We've broken down who plays where and at what age. Now let's see how all of this comes together into a single picture of. We've covered how age shapes positional profiles. Now the final question. Who actually reaches the elite, and how old are they? Among nearly 500 players sitting in the top 5% by rating, the ages cluster in a very narrow window, roughly 24 to 28. Outside that range, the drop-off is sharp. Not gradual, sharp. One explanation is that physical peak and accumulated experience converge precisely here. Before 24, a player hasn't yet built enough footballing instinct. After 28, the speed and recovery metrics start to dip. But there's another explanation. The system itself is doing the selecting. Clubs invest in this age corridor deliberately, and those players earn more minutes. More minutes means more chances to post a high rating. Age isn't just a biological detail, it's a structural filter that determines whoever gets the opportunity to shine in the first place. If this kind of analysis interests you, subscribe and we'll be back in a few days with more breakdowns from the same dataset.